In Exchange is about a senior who is running for class president.
He's trying to get into Yale because his parents want him to become a lawyer.
His friend comes up with a plan to win him the votes by dating the popular girl, who happens to be a German foreign exchange student.
And it doesn't turn out the way they expected it to.
We spend a lot of time talking about some of the things maybe that we don't like about a lot of student films that we've seen. For instance, student films often take themselves extremely seriously, where it's like life or death. We talked about like what's something that we could do that's a little bit more realistic in terms of the stakes.
We didn't want to do anything super dramatic, so we thought it'd be best if we did something lighthearted.
We both love rom-coms.
Yeah.
And we've never done anything like that before.
My job is to kind of help facilitate and try to make them think. So I would just ask a lot of questions like why? Why is this character doing this? Why is this character doing that? I think they decided that we would like for these characters not to end up together, but also it not be a sad ending. And that's when I said, I have a foreign exchange student who is really bubbly and she's really outgoing and she's really fun. What if you made this character a foreign exchange student? Therefore, she's going to have to leave. They're not going to be able to be together. Eventually, over weeks after weeks of discussing and thinking about this stuff, you know, they kind of start developing a backstory.
My parents want me to go to Yale, but it's really competitive. That's actually why I'm running for class president. My homies stand out.
Nika persuades him to actually follow his dreams.
The dynamic between the two, it started as like the typical rom-com thing where it's not real and it's just for whatever purpose. In this case, it was for the class presidency.
He's pressured by people around him, like, for example, his friends and his family, into trying to win class president in order to go to college, even though his real passion is in wrestling.
Wrestling just seemed like a funny and entertaining career path for someone that comes from a really well-off, wealthy family to want to pursue.
It took about 3 months to write An Exchange, and I'd say the biggest challenge was trying to make things not super cringy. We used a lot of inspiration from people that we know.
Nika is so vibrant in her personality, and her character is herself. Nika is Nika.
I'm 100% my character. The only thing is different of us. She gave Ben a second chance. And if somebody would do that with me, I would like, no, I would cut it off.
I just was looking at this character, Ben, and in many aspects, I could see myself in him. Throughout the whole film, he's seen being conflicted between his values of who he wants to be and who he thinks people want him to be for them.
I think the character of Mateo in Exchange is a lot dramatized version of myself. Of course, I'm not a furry.
Mateo's exactly like his character.
Mateo's exactly like his character, and that's why we picked him. Actually, we didn't even pick him. We voluntold him.
Goofy. He's always
mischievous.
Speaking random things.
We started writing, and then we realized that we were writing Mateo, and we were like, oh.
And I suggested, then we should just cast Mateo so that it's like, it's one less person that we have to go find to play this character. You know, when talking about how do we write this scene or what would this character say, I think it was helpful to bring in the boys that could give kind of a different perspective.
You're not just gonna give up everything you've been working towards, unless, here's what we do.
Should it be, I can't believe I actually listened to you, or I can't believe I took advice from you? The production took about 6 days in total over the course of Christmas break.
So the scheduling of these short films is always an interesting challenge. You're trying to stuff a lot in a very short amount of time.
It meant we had to work really diligently. We had to focus on everything that we were doing. We had to make sure everything was right.
Those first few days were really a challenge, primarily because we asked the actors to do quite possibly the hardest scene on the very first day.
Nika and JP didn't really know each other, so they were kind of uncomfortable. And also, it was just a very dramatic scene.
I had to manage this prop. While I'm acting, I'm talking to someone else, talking to a camera, trying to make sure all my movements are natural, feel right.
I think we did it like 20 times. It was pretty grueling for the actors.
I remember the first 2 days of shooting was a 13-hour day, and then the second was, I think, a 10-hour day.
We would come in early in the morning and we would set up, and then we would shoot, and then we'd take a break for lunch, and then move on that afternoon to the next location, set up, and then we'd be shooting into the night. And then by the time you get back, it's 9 or 10 at night, and they just make for really long days. Let's get it together. Come on. Student films, very often, they're just filmed at the student's school. That's understandable because that's what they have access to, that's where they are, and it's easier. But for production value, going to real locations, you really just can't beat it.
We wanted something that was kind of authentic, like a real environment. My favorite and probably most memorable would be the wrestling match. I've definitely never been to one of those before. Whenever we were writing it, we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to go.
Originally in the script, they were just going to talk about it, and he was just going to explain that he's interested in professional wrestling. I just remember encouraging the students, if it's at all possible that we could actually find a wrestling match and go and film there, it would be huge just for production value.
I think it was just a unique experience.
I had so much fun, and at first I didn't know it was fake, and then people telling me that it's fake, and that was ruined my whole thing. But then it was good again, and we had so much fun.
The energy was so there.
It was really fun to watch the wrestling. I'd never been to a wrestling show before. I'd like seen a bit, but I'd never actually been to one. So the energy was really fun.
Gavin definitely enjoyed it the most out of all of us. He lost his voice.
I'm loving this.
And then after he was like, guys, I can't talk anymore.
I can't really feel my throat. My chest kind of hurts. Are you sweaty? I am very sweaty. Very, very sweaty.
Yeah, that was a really fun day. My throat never recovered for like a week and a half. But it was worth it. It was fun. I'd do it again. That was probably my favorite moment.
She pointed at me. She pointed at me. My voice.
The library scene where Maddie's character Riley gets water poured on her by him.
He's supposed to go and purposely spill water on her so that she has to leave, and it leaves them two alone. We did the first take, and he and Maddie had talked about it, and he kind of dumps it on her shoulder. And Sophie and I looked at the footage afterwards, and I was like, this is not going to cut it. I walked with Mateo to go fill his water, and I was like, it's going to have to be full. And I said, but you have to hit her right in the face. Like, it's got to be in the face. So then he goes back, and then on the second take, he hit her directly in the face. And her reaction is completely 100% genuine.
Are you kidding me? I'm going to kill you.
I was like, oh my god!
I was just literally...
The furry reveal scene, seeing Mateo like in the whole fit before we did the actual shots. He put on cats before just so he can get in the flow of it. And we're sitting here looking like, oh my gosh, you're actually watching this.
We wanted to have this little side plot between the two friends who actually hate each other, and that was part of the comedy. I mean, that's why we put it in there, was because we thought, how funny would it be if Nika's best friend is the school mascot, and if Ben's best friend is secretly a furry who hates the girl that's the mascot, but he's kind of into her as the mascot.
Some unexpected changes were when we tried to film the monument scene on January 1st. because it was New Year's Day, I guess they had closed the monument down.
We're filming Thursday shoot on Wednesday since the Centennial Monument was closed for some reason on New Year's Day. So, you know, we're out here doing our thing, and we're hoping JP can get those lines down. If not, then we're screwed.
So now we're here because we don't want to lose a shooting day opportunity. So, and it's super cold. I was not dressed, and neither was Denali ready for the cold.
It was so cold this day, and I had like a little longer text, and I was shivering and couldn't really remember the words then because I was like, it was cold. I was freezing.
At Rice, we were filming there, and it starts pouring down rain. And so it's raining in the background, and then a wedding shoot happens in the background, and they're having like a party. So we had to adjust a lot of things for that.
We're gonna kill those photographers. Their sensors, they're gonna be broken. All right? Their lenses broken. That's what we're taking down. Okay.
We went and filmed at the monument, and it was a beautiful day, and we had broken it up into 2 days. We knew we were going to shoot multiple days there, and we ended up not getting everything that we had scheduled to film on that first day in because the sun was setting, and that was one of the challenges of shooting with natural light. And so when we come back the next day, it is overcast and it's raining.
So we were trying to shoot JP and Nika's scene at the picnic, and it was super dark. So we had to set up a bunch of lights that gave kind of artificial sunset light.
Like every film, this one had its fair share of opportunities for creative problem solving because oftentimes things didn't go exactly the way you think they would.
We just wrapped on set. Director Sophie, how do you feel about wrapping on set?
Yeah! The hardest part of editing for me was going through all the footage.
This year, we had all the different students just do string outs. So basically, every single take of every line, they would set in and out, and they would add it to a timeline so that we could really quickly look through every single take right in a row.
And then I had to go through and pick from that footage which was the best take and which one should be included.
I think we spent like 5 days here until almost midnight. There was one night I didn't go home until almost 1 a.m. I think the first cut was like 9.5 minutes, maybe 10.
I feel we are all worried about the time limit. We are all, every single time we talk about what we're scared of, it's the time limit.
I feel optimistic. A little worried, but optimistic.
I think trying to tell a full story in 7 minutes is always a challenge. You're trying to figure out how do we cut this down to time, which means you have to make some really difficult choices.
Getting that down and getting rid of some jokes that we really loved.
Are you just gonna give up everything you've been working towards?
I know what I need to do.
After viewing the first cut, my first thought was, this needs a lot of improvement.
Even though it was nowhere near where it was supposed to be, there was still that feeling of like, this is all the work we've done has like finally built up to something. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
This project is special to me because I really want to go into the film industry. After I did this last year, I thought I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna make something, again, that I'm proud of and something even better.
I think my favorite part of making the project was getting our ideas out there. Like, you got to be very creative, which I so desperately wanted to do. And this was an amazing outlet to do it.
Stressful as it was, staying up till God knows when, filming, only to wake up and do the same thing tomorrow. It builds a certain bond between everybody.
To these students' credit, they have been extremely committed and devoted to it. They put in a lot of time and energy, and hopefully they learn some things, not just about filmmaking, but about, you know, working with others, about communication, all of that kind of stuff that goes along with it. The relationships, I think, is what really makes it special.
It was fun, but it was also like educational because I learned a lot about making a movie. It was really special that it was like the first thing I ever worked on, and I got to work on it with a bunch of friends.
It was a great time. I mean, we got to know each other over the course of a couple weeks. It was something completely new for me, and I loved it.
Doing this short film was one of my core memories from my exchange year. It was such a great time. I met so many new people, and like, we're friends now, and I'm so happy that I done it because it gave me something in my exchange year what I will remember forever.